Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. We got a lot of requests for this. It's how to do vibrato. Well, before we discuss how to do vibrato, I think it's really important to understand what vibrato is and what it isn't. Now, even the medical community differs on this a bit because they're still not sure what vibrato really is. But as a singer of 30 years and 40 records out and close to 1,000 songs placed in film and TV and touring the world for 30 years, I want to share with you from a singer's perspective what I know vibrato to be, okay? The first thing is we need to have really good diaphragmatic support. If you don't know what that means, please check out my video on diaphragmatic support because without it, it's the cornerstone for great vibrato. That's the first thing. So it's a firmly supported breath, a breath that comes up into the throat, into a good open throat vowel that is a well-placed vowel relaxing into a state of oscillation. Fancy words, a state of vibrato, a state of oscillation, okay? Now we're gonna get into some of this stuff in a minute, but I wanna clarify this. Let's do this one more time. It's a strongly supported breath that has enough strength to sustain a relaxation response to a well-placed vowel that relaxes into a state of oscillation. And this actually expands all the way into resonance, by the way. We're going to cover some of that here, and I'm going to do a whole video on resonance as well. But I just want to kind of clarify that. So that's what vibrato is. Let me tell you what vibrato isn't. Now, I'm going to break down some different vibratos, and I want you to understand that not just because vibrato is maybe contrived or it's something that's used stylistically doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not a healthy vibrato. It's contrived or it's used for a different purpose, okay? So let me get into diaphragmatic vibrato first. So diaphragmatic vibrato, which again, these are all, let's call them no-nos, but that they're used maybe in a style or something. So diaphragmatic vibratos, you see my stomach moving, and I've got my diaphragm. So it's a pulsating diaphragmatic support system that's forcing this contrived vibrato. Now, in fairness, there's a lot of people that use this. I'm going to use an example. Aaron Neville does this, right? And he'll go, you know, he does this thing, right? But what happens is the whole tone is loud, and then when it oscillates, you lose volume, right? And it's this huge mechanism moving that's not creating a natural response for vibrato because it's supposed to be going into a state of relaxation response, right? Well, but he's made a career of this, and I'm not dissing Aaron, I love Aaron's voice, but he's chosen that as a style, and we're gonna get into other people that have chosen other vibratos as a style. I don't know if they can do a natural vibrato, and they've kind of maybe groomed themselves to end up with the vibrato that they have, and so their signature, and by the way, our vibrato is our signature, sort of our, you know, our signing off on the end note, so to speak, right? So let's kind of get our brain around that. But anyway, the next one is a vocal trill vibrato, and that's also important because if we do this, it's taught like this. So, and I even do this too. I'll teach this kind of initially. Is you take a whole tone, or right? Take this whole tone. You go. And we take that and we speed it up. Right? And we try to get a natural response out of that. Nothing wrong with learning it that way so long as you don't stay and hover and stay and have that be your natural vibrato. Now, that could develop into a vocal wobble and be very stiff on the vibrato itself. And there'll be a stiffness in the, you know, be real stiff on the sound, where we want a relaxation response, again, a strongly supported, diaphragmatically supported breath, right? Not a bad thing. Now, this begs a pretty big question here. If you notice, I started on a whole tone, and then I went down a semitone, and I toggled between the two. Well, there's a big debate even on where that toggle should happen. There's a very, very famous vocal coach, he's the leader of SLS, in fact, and he claims that the vibrato should be above the line. Well, if that's true, how could it possibly be a relaxation response if you're going, you know, right? Now, in fairness, there are a lot of people that use that vibrato. Let me give you some examples. Elton John, Freddie Mercury, they have a vibrato that's above the line, right? But a true or a natural vibrato, I believe, goes below the line. And you're saying, Ken, oh my gosh, you barely started. There's all this information. I didn't know it was this complicated. Well, I'm just trying to give you guys good information so that you know how we can get to our end game, which is a good natural vibrato. So, right? Right? And we're going to get into some other vibratos where some people do it too big. And they have a real big vibrato. We're going to get into that in a second. So a laryngeal vibrato or a larynx vibrato, where the larynx is moving, which is your voice box, the larynx is moving, and you're shifting the larynx up and down, and you're actually contriving or fabricating a vibrato using the larynx. Well, that is absolutely not a healthy vibrato. I wouldn't recommend that, especially because the larynx should stay pretty stable throughout our singing. Sometimes we'll lower it for low notes. Sometimes we'll raise it to use, it's kind of a sexy, girthy thing in the throat, whatever. But for the most part, we really want that larynx to stay stable. That's very, very important. The next thing is gospel jaw or jaw vibrato. Now, gospel jaw is kind of funny because there's a couple people out there. I'm going to give a couple examples right now. Whitney Houston is one where, and I will always love you. And they go, ah, and they have this jaw movement. Steve Perry from Journey does the same thing, when the lights go down in the city. And he moves his jaw, right, to create this response. That's also a contrived response. But in Whitney's case, and in Steve's case too, if you really listen closely, it's almost like they've got a pretty cool natural vibrato already working for them, and they're kind of doing that more for an effect. It's not something they have to do to get the vibrato to work. So be a little careful. I've done that too, kind of for showmanship and just for fun. I'll do that again as an effect. I'll do it to sound like someone else or to look for another style within a different vibrato. So, but that's still not a healthy vibrato. We don't want to go, with our jaw, because that's not going to help us with consistency and ending up to a relaxation response of a natural vibrato, okay? The next one is Caporino vibrato. Now, Caporino, it's like an Italian word for goat, goat-like, or goat's wiggle, or little goat in Italian. Now, that's right? Now, let me put this back here. Again, people have made entire careers on this. I'm not dissing other people's styles. Stevie Nicks, I'll be standing in a line, right? She's got that real fast goat's wiggle. Well, a lot of people have that. And that's actually a very unhealthy vibrato. It's very nervous and it's just real tight. And there's no real relaxation response to that. By the way, too, there's a lot of people that have this. And I'm going to use another example of someone. You guys might know of a band called Manhattan Transfer. They're a phenomenal, jazz, especially a cappella kind of jazz band. They do a vocal stab caprino, which is, and they'll do these kind of cool horn stabs, like a horn. Well, that's an effect. You listen to them and then you listen to their regular vibrato, so they have total command of their vibrato like I do here, and I can emulate different vibratos to give you an example, but then I also can rest or relax into a natural state of vibrato. Now, vocal wobble. Now, we talked a little bit about vocal trills. Vocal trills can actually become a vocal wobble, where the whole body kind of shakes, right? Well, in fairness, if you think of someone like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, run to the hills, run for your life. He's got this really wide vibrato. That's his style, and it's cool. And I'm not Bruce is Bruce, man. He's awesome. So again, it's a style, but it's not a natural vibrato, and it's very important to differentiate this. The tremolo vibrato, which is similar to a trill vibrato, is also like a trill, but it's a little faster. So it's right. So you kind of had me do the toggling back and forth between the notes. That is actually a faster version of that, which is also unhealthy. But what then is natural vibrato and how do we get it? This is really important. And by the way, natural vibrato converts into a state of resonance where we can actually lean into a sound and get a lot of volume out of something without forcing or pushing too much air. So I just showed you, if I go, right? I'm taking a nice, strongly supported sound, and because I have strength in my abdomen, I can relax my chest, my neck, and my throat, and I can start to roll into this. Now again, I can't in this one video tell everybody how they can all do vibrato, because people's voices are different, and their oscillation rate is different, and the width of their oscillation rate is different. So I cover all of this in my singing course called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else, but I just want to give you guys an overview, a Reader's Digest version, so to speak, of how we get to this. So we can start with something. And we can gently kind of work our way and relax our way into this sound. Now, you're gonna start with this a minute, you're gonna go, gosh, this is so frustrating. I can get 1 or 2 trills, or I can get a couple of them, and then it stops working. Reset, get your breath together, come back again. And you can relax into a state of oscillation, okay? Now let's remember, this is a relaxation response. It's not meant to be forced. It's not meant to, plow through. And again, I want to cover this one more time. People say, you should be able to have natural vibrato and you shouldn't have to work at it. Okay, like I said, I came out of my mom's womb just with natural vibrato. Well, I haven't found that to be true. I found that once I understand the mechanism, how it's all supposed to work together, that I can relax into a state of vibrato. Now, we might like a singer's vibrato, a certain singer that we love, and we want to emulate that. There's nothing wrong with that, but let's learn a true natural vibrato first. Now, I promised one more thing, which is about resonance, and I want to sing a high note, like on an eval or something for a second. When we can get to that place where we have a real strong supported breath, relaxing the chest, relaxing the neck, relaxing the throat, we can actually have a ping, a brightness, a resonance into the sound. Now you will probably watch a bunch of YouTube videos and you're resonators and resonance and all this resonance. It's kind of funny because the vibrato is perfect because you go, right? I can relax into a state of oscillation, and because that resonance takes over and I've got really good chord closure and good support, I can relax into a sound without having to force or over-sing the sound, keeping the throat open. Remember that good vowel placement of open throat technique, so I can relax into like hitting an amphitheater of sound where it pushes that sound and vibrates and resonates everywhere, okay? Thank you guys for joining me, Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. And until next time, peace. Wait!